and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. With 4 race starts, we're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders. In green, our Category 2. In blue, Category 3. And Category 4 in red. Lots of breaking up in Category 4. Category 3 going the same way. What's going to happen on Category 2? We've got an attack on the front already, but this is the early pot here.
Well, it's Bergen who's gone for it. Newbie Holly Bergen on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club has put a kick in here. Ella Vink is the rider responding, and so is Rebecca Johnson. Alzat is there. They've got a bit of work to do to reel her in. You can see the chasing group behind. I'll tell you, they are coming.
They're there.
They are. But Bergen, I tell you what, she's gone up and over the top of the leaders in the Category 4 race, and she's continuing her push up this climb. That is dangerous, Matt, because those 6 riders, if they can work together, they can make the catch for Fua, and then there's 7 riders, and then it's anybody's game. Out front at the head of the race at the moment, we're in with Jeremy Prado. She is chasing down Tiffany Penner, the leader in the Category 2 race.
Riders all heading in towards the finish. This finish is going to be absolutely critical as they run in. Penner at the moment with Prado leading this out. Penner is leading this out. The polka dot skin suit of the best climber is looking to add the yellow skin suit of the winner. Here comes the banner. This is the run for the line, and it's going to be Tiffany Penner who takes the win in Category 2 ahead of Jermaine Prado. So hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Wherever you are in the world, we're here to bring all of the race action. It's great to be back in the studios once again. My name is Matt Payne. I'm going to be bringing you the action with the one and only, the Professor Emma Martin. You can have your posh name today, Emma.
Oh, thank you very much there, Matt. I'm halfway through my pint of tea. That should keep me going this morning.
So Emma's on tea, I'm on coffee. I'm sure wherever you are getting ready for the race club, you're going to get yourselves hydrated with something appropriate, which might not actually be tea or coffee, but do send us those pictures in. You saw the social media tags there. It's at Matt Fixpain and at Biking Emma. And make sure you put the comments down on the live chat as well. Let's have a look where we're going, Em.
Yeah, we are off to Alula. We are off to the heritage course because 35 kilometres of racing, 542 metres of climbing, and there it is in front of you. So 5 sprints along the way of 300 metres, but the main climb coming, the heritage climb today at 13.3 kilometres into this course. And look how steppy it is. It is not a consistent gradient. It kicks, it drops, 13%, 13%, 16%. The kickers continue. Then we drop off the other side and we run into the finish. It's a 15.8 kilometre run from the top of the Category 2 heritage climb to the finish line. But the last 3.1 kilometres, take a look at those rollers, and they will really sort the finish out if the climb of the heritage climb hasn't. So really looking forward to this today. Qualifier number 1 in March was the last time we were here, just sub 60 minutes for the Category 1 women. Who is going to take top spot today? Because Emma Belford, who took the win then, is not on the start sheets today.
Well, really interesting to see no Emma on those start sheets. No Emma Belford, but an Emma here in the studio. It's not that common a name, I promise you, honest. We will see just how fast our rider's going to be. We're going to kick off with our Category 4 as ever. 5 minutes between each of our categories. The Petite 4 squad with Nikki Lloyd 5th overall in our unofficial general classification for the Petite 4s, along with Simone Francis in there as well. They are going to be our team riders. But Emma, there is a big field of riders here.
There is 31 riders on the start sheets today in Category 4, and we've had quite a bit of movement as well because Claudia Hyde has gone up to Category 3, leaving that top spot open a little bit and opening up the field. So Bridget Bremner is back in Cat 4, but Navarez is here, Bogren is here, who both ride well on this course. Elos, Perry, Silvestro, who's been riding really strongly, Isabella Bryson, who's come into the mix recently, Kristen Hamilton, who's had a 2nd and a 5th. She is fairly new to the Sunday Race Club as well. Alvarez, Almansouri, Smithson, Madera, Sarasuk, all should be in the mix today. Well, away go Category 4. They're up and out of the start pens, and this should be a really competitive race today.
It certainly should. 15 nations of riders in the Category 4 race field. A global representation of riders from out and around the world racing here on MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. And away they are. And Emma, it's a compact pack, but we are seeing a split. One rider already just being distanced. We do see that sometimes where riders don't quite get that start. It can be a technical issue. It can be a connection issue. I know you were riding on the turbo earlier in the week, and you were having issues with the connection between your turbo trainer and the computer itself, and that obviously then caused you issues.
Yeah, and you do have issues, but quite often at the start, that's just about, I was going to say not being on the ball, but I'm not sure I'm on the ball at the moment this morning. But sometimes it really is. You've got to have had a really good warm-up. You cannot just get on the bike and start the race. You've got to have warmed up, particularly at the pace the riders come out the start pen on the Sunday Race Club. The fields are strong, the fields are big, and the action happens from the start. You cannot go in cold. You've got to be warmed up, and you've got to be paying attention, and you've got to get your acceleration phase for the start correct. What you want to be doing is putting the power down out on that acceleration so that the power is going up as the start happens. You don't want to peak too early so that your power is on the descent as the start happens. And that is really key.
And that's a bit like when you accelerate your car up, but you push down on the gas on your car, and that then you need more gas to get it moving from a standstill, which means more power being put in. The power input is what is being measured, not necessarily the speed. So it's that power input, getting that power from standstill, you can get a higher power level into that acceleration and then away. Now, good to see you, Jennifer Ellis here. Great view out of the window as well from Jennifer's shot there where she's on the bike. Fantastic to get that daylight coming in as well. If you are racing in the daylight and we're on the climb, you can just see we're coming over the crest here, just easing off a little bit as we go over the top, but it stretched the group. The pressure has been put on. And Category 4 racing, it's really tough, isn't it?
Yeah, it is indeed. And there's been some real power down early today to stretch this group out. They're already rolling at 40 kilometers an hour, and they have been for some time. And early on in this course, in fact, the riders have just gone over the top and on the plateau. There is a small kicker, 750 meters into this course. It's a small rise of 4 to 5%. And that is what has stretched this Category 4 group. So you can see that stretch on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen with those red blobs elongated rather than one tight circle. And that is the product of this small climb that comes so early on. The rider's now on the descent on to the other side. And then we've got a pretty flat run-in on this course to that 13-kilometer mark where the foothills start for the heritage climb.
So starting to split, starting to fracture those groups, now starting to leave a reasonable number behind. The center of that radar, that satellite navigation view shows the group that we are focused on at the moment, but behind you can see that there is another group starting to form, group number 2, as we roll our way in. And although this up and down, it shows on the course profile, it's easy to miss it if you haven't been paying attention. So Jennifer Ellis, the rider that we just saw at the moment at the front of the race, starting to wind this group along the side of the lake out to the right-hand side, this newly revamped Alula World. A fantastic detail here. It's great to see the riders out and racing, and looking forward to going up onto the Heritage Climb. It is one of my favourite parts of the various MyWhoosh worlds, and as we make our way up there, we're going to get a clearer picture of who's feeling on form for that climb. But that is really the big kicker over and done with, isn't it, before we get to the main climb? And that means time to go head over to Category 3, because our Category 3 riders just into countdown at the moment. We've got the Maniacs team. Now we're going to see whether Gerardo Montoya or Barragan are going to be in there. Barragan leading the overall, the unofficial, I hasten to say, overall standings at the moment after 2 qualifiers. We've got De Silva, Hadlock, Alze and Conan in for the Megawatts team. Golden Light will be here as well, I'm sure. But we've got a real mixed pack here, Emma. Let's go through the details of those riders in a little while once we get our riders underway, because here in Category 3, they are absolutely stacked. we will see who is going to take victory at the end. Will our Category 3 riders move away as smoothly as our Category 4, or will they fracture from the word go? Time to find out here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. They're up and away, heading out from that start pen. They'll take the left-hand turn and to move on to that very shortly. There we go. So the right-left complete. They now make their way up this straight here underneath the lights as the crowd waves. Category 3 are moving.
Yeah, they are indeed, and they're moving towards that first climb. So on the top right-hand corner of your screen for new viewers, we have a indication of the course coming up. So the yellow line that you can see is where the pack of riders currently are, and you can see that small climb that we were talking about, that climb that hits 4 to 5% that split the Category 4 pack just on that screen as an indication for the riders as to what is ahead. Well, Ella Vink on our screens, absolutely part and parcel of that Category 3 pack, looking at her screen herself, full of concentration. She's well aware of what this course is like and what happens at the start of this race, as the 30 riders on the start sheets of Category 3 want to make this group smaller, because the class that is in this field today, Matt, really, really strong. So Rosalina Barragan, she's had a second and a first in the Maniac squad. She's here. De Silva, she's had a fourth and a fifth this month for the Megawatts team. Now, she won on this course last time we were here. Hadlock, her teammate, has had a third place this month, and we know Carolina Alzak is so strong. Claudia Hyde has come up from Category 4. I'm personally really interested to see what she can do today in Category 3, because she's been a strong rider, there or thereabouts in the top 5 for some time now in Category 4. So really looking forward to what she can see. Ella Vink has been on form this month. Montoya is here. Hill, Johnson, both really strong climbers. So this could suit them. Chakova, Herrero. You know, as I said, there's some real strength and depth in this race field.
There is, and you can see just how hard it's pushing the riders at the moment. That strength having to be used on this climb. Real focus from lady in there from in the Pain Cave. Looked to me like she was really, I mean, that sort of straight on, that focus, that staring at the screen, it's a sign you're really having to work, and you're really concentrating on that. Now, just go back with Category 4 here, Emma. We're seeing a big split here. They're going into the first of our sprints, which for new viewers, it doesn't count for the overall, but it does mean you get to wear the green skin suit of our sprint leader as you make your way in and through. And you can also figure in the overall green table for the green skin suits for those sprints. But as they go through, it gives us a snapshot, doesn't it? And we're going to get a good indication now of how these riders at the front go through. We can just see Myra Madeira is our fastest rider through the sprint there, going through in a time of 26.883. So fastest rider at the moment, but this is as the riders go through. The group behind, I would expect not to trouble that. And we're going to tell because the chasing group have just gone through the finishing line. If they suddenly jump up to the top of our screen on the left-hand side, we know they're moving faster and chasing, but they're not going to do that. They are going slow. They are being distant. So I think that split is going to be pretty definitive.
Yeah, currently around 300 metres, that split between these two groups at the moment. And the leading group, currently 20 riders in that leading group. Now, 31 riders did indeed take to the start today. And you can see there are a number of riders in that chasing group. So 2 main groups on the road at the moment. And I can tell you there are 5 riders in that chasing group. 20 riders at the front. And currently the fastest time being taken in Category 4 by Myra Madeira, Al-Mansouri in 2, Bremen in 3, Alvarez in 4. So really interesting to see the pace that was put on at the front of that Category 4 pack. They are rolling, and they are rolling strongly. Category 3 on the left-hand side of your screen, one big group at the moment, but actually it's not, because I can see 1 or 2 riders just distance there, and I bet that was that climb.
So let's take a look at our next category to start. That is a Category 2. The team here today are going to be our Sunday crew team. We're going to see how they are going to get on. But Category 2, It may be just a little smaller than categories 3 and 4, Emma, but it is absolutely jam-packed full of talent.
Yeah, 26 riders on the start sheets today. Penna, who won last week, going up to Category 1. Holly Bergen, who came into Category 3 last week, coming up to Category 2 this week. Jeremy Prado is here on the start line. She's had a second. Anna Emring's had a first and a fourth. Really looking forward to seeing what these riders can do today on this course. So as the final seconds tick down, we're in with Laura Takanas. The riders in Category 2 are up and out of the start pen. They are indeed away. They're going to sweep out to the left, and then they turn out onto the course. Now, that first small climb coming up. Now, this is a smaller pack, Matt, than we've seen start in the other two race categories. It's going to be really interesting to see with the close racing nature of this group. And I say close racing nature. We've had 2 qualifiers so far this month. 10 possible spots on the podium with 5 riders per race. 8 different riders in Category 2 have taken top spots so far this month. And for me, that tells me how strong this field is and how well matched this race field is as well.
It is, and I'm wondering whether we're going to see people like Wendy McAlpine, Kimberly Miller, Linda Sarmiento. They are the riders on that Sunday Cruise squad that we saw the team up for there, and they are the team maybe that can use that team strength. But the riders all communicate, don't they? Whether they're in a team or not, there's often alliances made, and that communication is via Discord.
Yeah, very much so. And there are indeed often alliances made. Some of the teams stay together all month. Some of the teams come together for the finals. It is the final qualifier for April today. So qualifier number 3, 3 qualifiers in April. Our final next week. And of course, you've got to have 2 verified finishes in those qualifiers to proceed to the monthly final. Well, Stefania Sanchez, she knows what this is all about because she's been part and parcel of the Sunday Race Club for some time now and some seriously strong performances. She's had a 5th place this month already, and I think she's going to be gunning for another.
And she's a rider who goes well on the climbs.
Yeah, she does.
She's got 2 qualifying rides in already, going to ride it this time around. That is going to push her up on those overall standings as well. And very quickly out of the saddle, a rider with a really high cadence. You notice that some riders, when they get to stand up out of the saddle, they'll put it in a bigger gear. She just danced up onto those pedals, and that means that she's keeping those revs really high, just using that little kick of the body weight to just push that on. Really, really nice technique there, just responding very quickly there to the moves in Category 2, which are on the left-hand side of your screen. Right-hand side of your screen, you can see it's another sprint banner for Gina De Grazia at the moment as the riders go through the 4.9k marker. The riders in Category 3 have gone through the Valley of the Tombs sprints, and they should, in theory, have put the fastest times up. In fact, there we go. Gina De Grazia has, but interestingly, Myra Madeira is the rider who is immediately behind there. And this chasing pack of riders coming on behind include Claudia Hyde here, a rider who was leading the overall standings in Category 4, but has moved up to Category 3.
She has indeed moved up to Category 3, and I'm really keen to see what she can do here. She's part and parcel of this leading group in Category 3. In fact, 17 riders now in this leading group in Category 3. Just Bremner, Al-Mansouri and Madeira, those 3 Category 4 riders, setting faster times through the sprint segment than this leading Category 3 pack.
So going to be really close as they all start to come together. In fact, Musa Al-Mansouri just on the right-hand side of our screen with Christine Hamilton in the leading group. Those Category 4 riders, Al-Mansouri and Hamilton right up there in the overall standings. Now, if you wonder what we're talking about with the overall standings, there are some unofficial, very unofficial standings being done. And we've got to say a massive thank you to Brett McMurtry, to Luke Orpot, and all the team who are doing that behind the scenes for us. And we have got those links. They're going to be on our social media feed after the shows today. We're going to update them after the shows today, and you'll have those links. Some great, really interesting stats in there. Even if you're not a stats geek like Emma and like me, you're just interested in great racing. You can see who of our Category 1 riders are right up there. Now we've got Aberloch International. They're going to be led by Nellie Larson here today. But can they take on the might of the Effetto skier squad? This is like an all-stars team of esports. Joanna Coleman, Roberta Soni, Selene Colombi, Sophie Giovanni, and Vicky Whitelaw. That is tough, tough stuff to beat. But we have some incredibly strong riders in here, don't we, Emma?
We do indeed. 22 riders on the start sheets in Category 1. Columbi's had a third. Van Hove's on form. Menendez is here. Fua's had a first and a second. And so has Merle Bruni this month. It's going to be close today.
It's going to be close. Let's see who's going to do this. We're going to be away. It is qualifier number 3 here in April on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. And we're off from the start. Category 1 away. These guys should have this absolutely nailed. They are the best of the best. World-class riders riding on the world-class platform that is MyWhoosh, the partner for the UCI, the Union Cycliste Internationale, the governing body for cycle sport, whether that is the XCE that we were putting words to the action to on the City Mountain Bike YouTube channel yesterday, whether it is the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club where we're here today, or whether it's going to be the BMX from Tulsa where I think I'm going to be going out next week, although it's a little confusing for my poor little brain without enough coffee.
Whilst Matt tries to remember which show he's putting the words
Not
to.
a problem. MyWhoosh is there is only one MyWhoosh, I have to say.
And
I've got to say, one of the best things about it, sorry, Emma, is being able to look in on our riders and see how they're riding, where they're riding, how many fans they have and how big the fans are. This is a subject close to me. I have my own microclimate when I ride on a bike and sadly probably contribute to the global warming of the world. I'll have to plant some more trees. If you want to see what we do with planting trees, have a look on the feed either on mine or Emma's to try and make up for the amount of energy we produce in the studio and hot air that contributes to the warming. However, I do love that. And I think that's one of the unique things. I mean, we are very, very privileged and we've got to say, absolutely love putting words to the action across all sorts of disciplines. I mean, Emma, you were covering indoor cycling at Glasgow?
Yes, indeed. And don't never confuse indoor cycling with esports or e-cycling. Two very, very different disciplines. Artistic cycling and cycle ball, which, yes, is indeed football on bikes using your front wheel, categorizes indoor cycling. Esports or e-cycling is what we are watching at the moment.
I don't know whether Nelly Larson has got skills to play cycle ball. It looks like she's a multi-discipline rider, though, by the different types of tyres we can see in the background, which is really good to see. And that's always really interesting for me to see who can do one thing or both. But our Category 1 riders, top of the tree here, we cover lots of different things for lots of different sports in lots of different ways. But I have to say, I absolutely love our regular shows on a Sunday. Thank you very much for joining us. Please do make sure you subscribe, hit that button, and share it out there.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, Matt. And what I absolutely love is these little insights into all of our riders' worlds.
Yes.
And seeing where they are in the world and how they ride and on this platform together. Now, our Category 1 riders now 1.5 kilometres into this course, and you can see exactly what has happened in the other 3 categories now happened in Category 1 as well, because that climb has had an impact and we've got a rider off the back of the group. But just taking a look at our start sheets today in Category 1, as we were talking about in Category 2, the strength and depth of this race field, absolutely phenomenal. Going back to that top 5 positions each week in the qualifiers.
Yes.
So 10 top spots in the 2 qualifiers so far. Like Category 2, 8 different riders in Category 1 have had top spots. Now, Columbi, Menendez, Fua, Kolczynski, Holdcroft, Bruni, Soderstrom and Velt. All 8 of those riders have finished in podium places this month. Just Bruni and Fua who have done the double.
That's really interesting because I'm looking at the moment on our unofficial overall GC. And up at the top is Merle Bruni leading from Catherine Fua. The time gap. So, Emma, after 2 qualifiers, 2 weeks of racing, Merle Bruni and Catherine Fua are separated in the GC, the general classification overall, by how much?
3 seconds.
24 seconds.
Oh!
Nearly.
Well, I know it's close because,
because
in qualifier number 1 on the Passo Alto, Fua, Bruni and Columbi, the top 3, were just separated by 7 seconds that day.
Well, we're going to see if the Effetto skier squad can do something about it. They have work to do. Their best rider on the overall is Sophie Giovanni, followed by Joanna Kalman, and then Vicky Whitelaw. 3 of the riders together. Then we've got Celine Colombi, so they are in order 9th, 10th, 11th, and 13th. In the overall standings. You'll be able to get those on our links on social media after the show.
That Effetto skier squad, Matt, when we were talking about the March finals, the Risky Biscuits took the win in Category 1. Effetto skier came in second place, 2 minutes 22 back, and they were absolutely fighting with Nordic Spirit because Nordic Spirit were only 4 seconds further back than that. So the tightness again at the top of this Category 1 race, phenomenal.
And I think this is really shown out by the riders when they're having to answer an attack by somebody like Lisa Hermansen. Lisa Hermansen, an absolutely phenomenal rider who can really put the power down and really aggressive as well. Fantastic to see that attack. She's gone clear off at the front behind this group and now having to respond. They're having to make a choice here. Do we chase? How far do we let a rider like Lisa Manson go? Are we going to let her get a gap? At the moment, distance covered 3.4 kilometers. We're only 3.5 now, only a little way into this fantastic race route. But the riders really, really do need to make their way up and think about how much effort do we chase with? How much work do we do? One of the things you need to remember, Lisa Hermansen, a regular rider for the Ablock International squad, a regular rider with Holcroft in that mix, really working hard with people like Nellie Larson to try and break up the action from the Effetto skier squad, from the Nordic Spirit squad, etc., and really break and change that up. So it's going to be really interesting to see. One rider who had a great ride last week.
Yes.
Marlene Bjarhead.
Yes.
On the attack, on the move. If you haven't watched last week's race, please do watch it back. Brave riding by Marlene Bjarhead on the move last week, and really good to see back here again this week.
Well, and quite a similar-ish course last week to this week. We were on the outer loop in Australia last week with a climb that comes pretty much at the same place in the race, 35 kilometres, this time coming at 13.3. I think it comes at around 16k. So very, very similar. And then a flatter run into the finish than we've got today. So expecting some similar types of racing, but this is a punchier rider's climb.
Yes.
For me, than the outer loop climb. Even though there are some steep sections on the outer loop climb, this for me, the heritage climb, is punchy. And when we take a look at the map later and have a look at this gradient on this climb, closer to when we see the riders go up it, we'll really be able to take a look at the nature of this climb. And I think that's going to influence the racing.
I think it is, and it does change it. And a lot of that roller coaster, that instant hit, then back off and then hit again, is actually in the first half of that climb.
Yes, very much.
So it does damage in the first half, and in the second half of the climb that's coming up, it then is a consistent gradient. So just when you're on the ropes, it really it's going to keep you pinned there. Now, let's have a look at the split times for all of our riders now that we've had Category 1 leaders go through. Gina de Gracia leading them through here from Category 3. Holly Bergin clearly invigorated and really enlivened by her ride. You saw her on the rewinds earlier on, looking to hit out early today in Category 2. We have got Maria Holcroft leading them through here in Category 1, but Bergin in Category 2, Emma.
Yeah, so good to see her poking her nose out or poking that front wheel out on that bike early on, having moved up from Category 3 last week. So really good to see her in the mix there. So Holly Bergin putting that power down through those sprints. Will she be there at the end?
We will see. It is, like you said, a very similar course, but it's different in so many ways. So particularly with that run in at the end, it is a little tricky on outer loop, but it's much more tricky here, and it is much more aggressive in terms of the course profile. But our riders have to get over the heritage climb, the 5.9 kilometre climb, where we already see Category 4 riders well into the slopes. They're at 14.2 kilometres at the moment, so they've done nearly a kilometre of the climb. And on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see what was one blob. It's now starting to snake its way up here. It's not multicolour yet, so Emma's not going to get too giddy, but it is already starting to break up and fracture patch, and it gives you an indication of just how tough this is and where the steep sections are. On the steep sections of the climb, those dots will compress, and that is what you're seeing now. The riders coming together. When it gets faster, as the front riders go over the top and the gradient eases, it will stretch again and it will string out. And that compression and that expansion is very difficult to contend with as a rider if you're not the rider setting the pace on the front. At the moment, you can see we've got Musa Al-Mansouri in here, the rider who has taken the green sprint jersey, really pushing on here. Not sure she'll be in at the finish, though, surely with these climbs, Emma.
Well, Perry, Jones, Bremner, Silvestro, Elios, Al-Mansouri, Madeira, Hamilton, Smithson just off the back there. She's going to need to push and she's going to need to squeeze. She's going to get a flatter section to do that shortly. Vasquez just coming up to her side. She needs to go with that rider. Bryson, who rode really strongly last week. In fact, she's had a 5th place this month, just being distanced off the back. Then she's with Milena Alvarez. So 2 riders there being distanced off the back. They've got 2 riders who are 3 seconds up the road, Smithson and Vasquez. Well, they are 3 seconds off the back of that group, and there's a little bit of work to be done.
There is. Will they be able to pull them back? Those groups are splitting. Really interesting, isn't it? The state of the groups coming into the climb, like Category 3 here. Big blob coming in en masse towards that polka dot banner and fast at pace. And then you hit the climb and it breaks and people are under pressure and it starts to stretch. And some people get found out. Some people hide what they've got left. Some people don't want to put too much in too early. They're trying to pace it. And all of that, of course, whilst working at maximum up onto the climb, and giving it absolutely everything here on MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. As always, 4 race categories in action. It's great, isn't it? I can just see Emma smiling ahead of the other side of the studio.
I'm smiling because it's Hadlock and Vink who took that group into that climb and have kept that pace high. So the group tight in Category 3. Hyde is there. So Claudia Hyde coming up from Category 4, doing a great job of staying in the mix. Turkova, Sonnerson, Marin, Giraldo, Hill, all in the mix here. Sonnerson is there, Marin is there, Isabella Giraldo is there. This group is a strong pack and it's still tightly packed there. In fact, take a look there. There is Hadlock in her pain cave. Look of concentration on her face. She wants to stay with this group. She probably doesn't want to go too early, but Amy, Marin, Ella Vink, Angel Hadlock, Emma Sonnerson, well, they are definitely leading this group out. We've got a little bit of a push on the front at the moment, but they are on that climb now. Well, Category 1, they are our last group of riders to start today. Started 15 minutes after Category 4, who were our first group on the road. This pack seriously tightly bunched at the moment and rolling strongly through this sprint section.
They're moving well here, Emma. And we're hitting the sprint. They're not sprinting. This is a very considered pace here by Category 1. Interesting to see who is in here. People like Merle Bruni, Vicky Whitelaw, Catherine Fua. We've got Penna in here now, which is going to be an interesting rider to have in the mix, given how strong she was last week on that similar course. Holcroft, Koistonen, a real mix of riders. But you can see here, for me, all the riders, because of the proximity of this sprint towards that climb section, it's not going anywhere, is it?
No, it's not indeed. And there we go. I was just waiting for us to scroll up to number 1 because we were sat on number 6 at the top. So Holly Bergin taking top spot in the sprint in Category 2, 22.9 seconds. Ooh, that's some power. 6 watts per kilo going through there. Concerted effort. Gino De Grazia in Category 3, another core effort to take that green skin suit in Category 3. Bremner pushing some power in Category 4. So really interesting to see the pack of Category 1 riders that we watched roll through the sprint pretty much sitting at a standard pace, scattered throughout the top. Well, I'm taking a scroll, which tells you how far it is back down. So scattered throughout the top 50 riders, which tells you that most of those riders, other than the few at the top who are making a concerted effort to pick up those sprint jerseys, were sitting in the packs rolling through that section. Well, currently sitting in the Category 2 pack is Manuela at the moment, and we can see, I think that might be a work from home office that she's got her turbo train. Oh, that would just be so tempting, wouldn't it? Oh, lunchtime, I'm just going to jump on my bike.
But that's one of the great things about esports, isn't it? That you can be working away, you can jump off the bike, you can go spin your legs and go actually get, particularly something like a recovery rope. I mean, I'm not suggesting today's by any stretch of the imagination, but if you're jumping on MyWhoosh in the middle of the week and you're going to just go spin your legs, go do one of those recovery rides to get that lactic acid, Monday, you're feeling it, your legs are sore, you jump on board after racing on the Sunday, you spin those legs out so you're ready to do a good training session on the Tuesday, then perfect way to do it, put it in that lunch break, jump away if you're working from home.
Well, she's part and parcel of this big category 2 pack. They are not quite yet at the banner, and they're very shortly going to see it. So they're going to come up here, they're going to take the left-hand turn, and they are going to see the polka dot banner indicating the start of the heritage climb. That big rock in front, the elephant rock. Oh, it's just phenomenal, isn't it? Piece of nature. The shape of it. I just want to go up and hug its trunk.
Maybe one day you'll be lucky enough to go there.
Well, back to
and go hug its trunk. You might have to start racing on MyWhoosh to win some serious prize money to get up and be able to do that. Our riders, though, they don't get to do that. They turn left and are heading into the climb category 2 on the way into the climb. And as far as on the rider we were focused on in category 2. In category 1, we're with Merle Bruni, the rider who's leading the overall standings in terms of the GC, a rider who has been right up at the front of affairs. She's on storming form here, Emma. Merle Bruni, I think, really, of all the riders at the moment, the rider who's doing this, we know Catherine Fua, we know Jessenia Menezes, we know Amelia Van Hoek. Merle Bruni, relatively newer to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, and that means that she still has a little bit of the element of surprise. I don't think so much anymore, but she certainly did when she first came in.
Well, I'm not sure she does have a lot of the element of surprise.
Not anymore. She's known now within the Sunday Race Club.
She's finished 7th in the National Time Trial Championships in Germany. She's finished in the top 20 in the national road race. She's a strong rider. To have those types of positions and to finish in the time trial or the national road race in Germany like that in the women's field, you've got to be a strong rider. But she's part and parcel of that pack today.
I'm not sure most people have the, and we are very, very lucky because, of course, we've got worse to the action. We do a lot of homework on our riders to try and make sure we know exactly what's going on. And that's illustrated by Emma's knowledge there of exactly what Merle Bruni's done in the road. But Emma, the rest of the riders can't do that with everybody. They're not in that position. If they've got 4, 5 hours, 10 hours, I don't even want to begin to tell you how many days we spend searching for riders and looking to see what they've done. If they don't have that, and if they did have that time, they should be racing and training, really. They're not going to have that time to do that research on all the riders. It does give you that little bit of element of surprise, but once a rider's handed it out to you in a race, you're always going to remember it. Who's, if you've been right up there and you got beaten by somebody, you're going to know about it.
Yeah, and these riders on the Sunday Race Club are racing week in, week out together. And they will be aware of what's going on. I mean, most of our riders will follow certain podcasts, they will follow certain newsletters, certain e-cycling news outlets, where a lot of rider profiles get taken place, a lot of guests come on. There's a lot of information out there about what other riders are doing. And for a general viewer, that is also great because you get to understand and hear and listen to the background stories to your favourite riders, which is absolutely brilliant. I mean, taking a look at Anna Embry, she's on our screen at the moment, and you've got a lovely shot out of her window. Currently in Sweden, 0 degrees, and I thought it was cold here in the UK today at 4 degrees. It's not much different, I have to say. But really great. The windows into the worlds of our riders, you can pick up that information, and whether you are a fan or whether you are a competitor.
And it does make a difference in terms of what riders can do, how much time they spend, how much they want to spend. I mean, you know that somebody who's in the Northern Hemisphere, in the depths of winter, if you were in Crans-Montana at the moment in Switzerland, where we've got one of the full speed events team currently just doing some work building the mountain bike world championship course out there, we know that if they wanted to ride, basically the only thing they could ride is skis, or
A
on my
snowboard.
walk or on my whoosh, and those are
That is very
literally
true.
the only options because of their location. And it does mean they'll be spending a lot of time on my whoosh, and they'll be totally tuned into the platform. Whereas somebody who's got more opportunity outdoors may change.
Yeah, well, currently at the moment, Category 1 not quite on the climb yet, but it is very shortly coming. Category 2, they're on the lower slopes, and it's Embring and Prado leading the charge. Category 3, they are well and truly on the climb, and in fact, Hadlock is the rider who's pushed on. She's 10 seconds clear at the moment of the chasing group. Category 4, well, take a look at that. It's Georgia Perry at the top, Almond Sori in 2. Kirsten Hamilton 20 seconds back with Bremner, Silvestro, Jones, all part of that charge. So 6 riders in Category 4, all within 20 seconds of each other. And there's a big chase group behind. They're currently at 17.3 kilometres. Now, just a reminder, the climb is 5.9 kilometres long. It finishes at 19.2k. Then there's the 15.8 kilometre run into the finish. Well, our Category 4 riders are closest to the top. Our Category 1 riders are closest to the bottom, because that is the polka dot banner signifying the start of the Heritage Climb. It's a gentle start, but it does start to kick a little later.
I love the way you say it's a gentle. It's
only, look.
It's for about half a kilometre. It's the one thing I think with this climb is, and with all the climbs on MyWhoosh, is they feel very real. Fake speed. It's not like Mario Kart, is it? It is a super real feel, isn't it, when you go onto it? And because of that, when you get a gradient, I mean, we get people say, oh, it's only 1%, 2%, 3%. That can't feel that hard. Oh, it does, because it's just like, outdoors. It is a real feel gradient, real feel speed. And I think that is one of the things that riders need to get used to. Now, Catherine Fua, who we are in with at the moment, is a regular rider indoors and out. She's a esports champion par excellence, and she's a rider who we know is going to be riding strongly, particularly on this climb. Now, for me, Fua is one of those riders who excels across all types of climbs. She's not just steady gradient. She's not just steep and sharp. She's not just punchy. She seems to be able to do everything. Emma, do you think she's got a chink in her armour? Is there a little gap?
Well, I think one of the things I like about Catherine Fua is that she's very good at identifying her weaknesses and then going away and working on them. So if you remember back 12 months, Catherine Fua was there or thereabouts. She wasn't as dominant on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club as she is now. She was playing around with those top 5 positions, sometimes not quite making it, and particularly on a long climbing course. And she went away and she said to herself, climbing is the area I need to work on. And she very openly has said she went away and she spent the summer 5-6 weeks solely working on her climbing. And boy, did it have an impact. She made a position, she put a plan in place, she executed the plan, and she's come back absolutely able to nail those climbs. Well, we're currently watching Catherine Fua in Category 1. She's sweeping round that right-hand bend on the early stages of the climb. So Fua now coming to the fore. Quinstonen in the mix. So is Sidlick, Bruni and Bassoni. Now, those riders really, really strong in the mix. Holdcroft has been having some great rides at the moment. She's had a 4th place this month as well. In fact, that was last week on the Outer Loop course. Very similar to this. So potentially she could be up there as well. Bjarhead is hanging on to that group as they continue to accelerate. You can see the stretch on that Category 1 group as they're all trying to be at the front with Kolczynski and Fua. Well, Kaczynski and Fua coming to the front, and that is one climbing duo. Bassoni, Quinstonen, Holdcroft, Hermansen, Columbi, Larson, all still with this group as they continue to push. We've got one split now in this Category 1 pack. Jacinia Menendez is the rider just coming off the back as the gradient starts to kick now. 10% at the moment. Well, I said it was going to get steeper.
It did indeed get steeper, so the gradient kicks in. The riders start to dig into those red zones. You can see the chevrons coming across in yellow and red, indicating the zones the riders going in. If you look underneath that course profile on the top right-hand side of your screen, you can see the zone that the rider is digging into. Basically, the further across into the red they go, the harder it's going to be, the less time you can hold that power for. Big kick here. Merle Bruni moves up on the left-hand side, trying to close that gap down. The rider out of the saddle, far left-hand side of this bunch, continues to squeeze here. Bruni keeping herself in position. Columbi climbing really, really well. Up at the front here with Korchinski, with Menezes, with Bassoni. This is a concerted push here. Effetto Skier are lifting the pace here. They are starting to squeeze on, and they are looking to make things tough for people. Bassoni at the moment leading the group. That's the leading rider in Category 1. You've got Fua immediately behind, covering all of the moves. Merle Bruni with the black helmet, the rider that we are figuring to watch at the moment, looks really, really strong as well. She's moved up to cover the move. She knows this is a danger moment in Category 1. They don't want this to split. They don't want to let one or two riders go clear, and that's what's happening in Category 2. German Prado, Stefania Sanchez are winding this up at the moment. They are going to be taking this up, but Sanchez has lost 6 seconds at the moment to Prado and Embring, and it's German Prado, Anna Embring, the two leading riders in Category 2. We're in with German Prado at the moment. You can see they're starting to work their way up, and I think that is going to be the front of Category 3, who are chasing the front of Category 4 on the left-hand side. We're starting to go multicolour because we're starting to see the mix of the groups in more profusion as we come onto the climbs. As we make our way up the climb, will they get the front of the race by the top? It's going to be a big ask today, I think, because of the way that all of our riders are riding really, really hard racing today.
Well, they've done nearly 4 kilometres of climbing. Category 2, they've got still nearly 2 kilometres to go. Prado and Embring, the riders pushing on there. Kasani and the chasing group now 7 to 8 seconds back. On the right-hand side of your screen, this is the front of the race at the moment. The Category 4 riders are still the leaders on the road for now. Perry and Almansori right at the front of that Category 4 race. It is Silvestro who is pushing hard. You know, she's not that far back. Jones, Bremner, Hamilton, Elos, Madeira, they are the chase group, and it is a group of strong riders. Elos, well, it's looking like she is now a little too far back, but the times are constantly fluctuating. And that, Matt, is because of how the timing is done on MyWhoosh, isn't it?
It is. It is a live timing rather than a time check at a set point. So it's a computation of speed and distance covered and the gap between, and that gives you the distance. Now, you can see that whilst it is yo-yoing, Jennifer Elos now, I think, out of the running. We're going to see 6 riders go over the top in the front, but the riders with the big gap are Perry and Almansori with De Silvestro very close at the moment. I think this is going to be an interesting mix going over here.
It's a 3 and 3, isn't it?
It is it's a 3 and 3, but I think that is going to close down now. We're just watching Kirsten Hamilton at the moment. On the left side, looking good at the moment. And
Bryson as well.
I think Bryson as well.
Really I love good. That.
Yeah.
So, you know, so you are racing on MyWhoosh, but you are in your garage with your friends. So you've got company and you're racing each other together with people from all over the world. That is what it is all about.
I hope the pair of them are sponsored by Garmin there. That's brilliant product placement on the side of the screen. You need to be sending that shot over, guys, to Garmin and say, this is great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've got a Garmin on my wrist now. I wouldn't be without it, but that is great product placement.
Well, next week, let's have a different bottle.
Yes, that's the deal, guys. Please, guys, can you send the bottle? So even more in the garage now. Look in, and you can just see the guys that are continuing to work here and push as they go up the climb. We've got Isabella Bryson now on the screen. Bryson at the moment in 10th position in that Category 4 racing.
Hamilton currently sat in 6th.
I know they're doing really well. That's one pain cave, 2 top 10 positions.
I know. What else could you ask for on a Sunday morning?
More coffee.
Well, I can tell you it's a Sunday morning because they are GB riders, and hence in the same country we are in at the moment. But the Category 4 race, I'll tell you something, the top end of the Category 4 race are going to be the first riders through the polka dot banner, signifying the top of the climb. They have climbed seriously strongly. Angel Hadlock, the leader at the moment in the Category 3 race. You can see her behind Vasquez at the moment. She's 20 seconds behind. She is going to start to work her way through the rest of the Category 4 race field, but they're going to get to the top before she catches them.
I think, yeah, it's going to be a real difficult move down because at the moment you've got Hadlock coming. You've got 10 seconds back to Estelle. Then you've got Piccola. I think the two riders behind, you can see them making the way up towards Hadlock. Could well catch back. But one of the things that I really love about putting words to the action on MyWhoosh. We've done this now. We're into year 3. And Joanne Hadlock was a rider who was riding when we very first covered the women's race back in year 1. Absolutely brilliant rider. And a rider who's coming back on form again. We've seen a dip. We're now seeing an improvement in that performance. And that we see that fluctuation in people's performances, in what they can do. Hadlock at the moment, though, climbing really well. She's looking really focused in terms of her when you see her on screen. Now, her avatar is moving its way right to the front here. Great riding in Category 3. Now, taking a look across on the left-hand side of your screen, we're in with German Prado, another rider who we know is improving with timing at the moment. Prado ahead of the chasing group behind, but she's got company, so it's Prado, Sanchez, and Montoya in there. They are the riders making the way up. Embring is in the mix as well. Have you got a take on how many riders in this group?
Well, I think there are about 7 riders in this Category 2 group, and that is impressive because they're 18.3 kilometres now into this race. And, well, that is 5 kilometres of climbing done in Category 2, and they are still all together. Now, there's only 900 metres of climbing left to go. And if we've got this group of 6-7 riders still in Category 2, that's a group that are going to go over the top together, I bet.
And it's a fast group then, because the advantage of being in the draft, there is an explainer if you follow at MyWhoosh on social media, on Instagram or on Facebook. I think it was on the Instagram story, telling you all about the draft. Basically, it's like hiding behind somebody else in a howling gale. It will keep you out of the way, and it means you've got to put less force into going force. A really key skill. Now we're back in with Category 1 at the moment. This is still a reasonably big group, Emma.
Yeah, 5 riders in this leading group in Category 1 rather than the 7 that we just saw in Category 2. But Bruni, Kolczynski, Columbi, Fua and Menendez. That is a great leading pack. I was about to say, if you want a team, that would be a phenomenal team as well, but they're not all part and parcel of the same team. Well, they won't be when we come to the finale of April next week, but Columbi at the moment pushing on. She's a superb climber. They have got 2 kilometers of climbing to go, and it's the top part of this climb for me is much steadier in terms of gradient and consistency of gradient than the earlier stages. Well, that's Category 1. This is Category 2, and we're watching Rosa Herrera. You can see her on the screen next to you at the moment. She's part and parcel of this mix at the moment and moving in the group.
So Rosa Herrera looking good here at the moment, and she's going to get caught here by Category 1. The group are coming up behind. It's not going to be long till she's there. We got Kristen White for company, but I tell you something, this is a tough day at the office. The riders are pushing on here. This climb is about to come to an end, and they're going to be into the descent here. This is a very hard day for our riders here. There's going to be some tired legs at the end. Now, Emma mentioned the finals coming up next week. Next week is, of course, finals. That means that our riders aren't just competing for individual prizes, but they're also competing for the team prize as well. Now, in terms of teams, Emma, who has been our best team in the women's racing?
I'm taking a pause.
Come on, go with it. With women's, in terms of the women's teams, in Category 1, let's go with Category 1.
I was about to
Feta
say,
there.
you know, it is a very loaded question because, you know, who is the best team? Well, we've got 4 different categories to start with, and we've got fabulous teams in all of those
Yes.
categories. And it really depends how you're, what parameters you're putting around best.
Okay. Let's go with individual categories. So then overall, which team works as the best team? Not necessarily getting the best results, but works as the best team, because that for me almost is the point of being a team.
Well, I think there's lots of things that are really interesting. So in category 1, I'm going to start with category 1. In category 1, the Risky Biscuits dominated and have dominated for a long time. You know, Catherine Fua, part and parcel of that squad, and a really key rider in it. Kiara Donny, part and parcel of that squad. We see her come in. Biarhead, part and parcel of that squad. You know, and we do see them really strongly riding as part and parcel of that. So, however, the Fito Skier have come in recently and they have been really strong. So great to see them coming into the mix. So Kalman, Bassoni, Columbi, Giovanni and Whitelaw. But Nordic Spirit as well. So the category 1 has become really competitive across those teams. And that is really good. One of the teams I really like, I'm going right to the other end. So the Petit Four squad in category 4 for me are a great team. I mean, I say that in terms of the community that they seem to create amongst each other and within that category 4 race squad and race field, I really like personally. Not to say that I haven't all joined them on MyWhoosh, and people can join the teams on MyWhoosh and ride with them because the team rides are on, and very, very happy to chat to you. The team members are very, very happy in those rides to have those conversations. And that for me is a really great thing to do. I've also, really liked to see other teams as well. So, for example, the Seasoned Sisters in category 3. For me, they're really interesting and great performing team because if you take a look back to the February final, they had 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 7th.
That is some result. That is some domination. Can the teams repeat that? Can the Seasoned Sisters be well seasoned, or will they need a little bit more marination? We will see whether they are going to be up there. Now, we have the riders at the front of category 1 starting to come through the top of the Heritage Climb. Fua, Bruni, Columbi and Kolczynski leading them through. We are going to see more riders coming in there, but the gaps had opened up. Bassoni now comes through 30 seconds down nearly on our leading 4. So after leading the riders into the climb, Bassoni now currently giving away 30 seconds. Menendez gives away 35 seconds, a further 5 seconds down on Bassoni. Vittori led through category 2, ahead of Prado and Embring. So the climb is definitely starting to separate these groups out. Merle Bruni, Kristen Kolczynski, Catherine Fua, Celine Columbi are the riders at the front of this race. Do you think they're going to come back, Emma? Are they going to get caught by Bassoni, by Menendez?
Well, currently taking a look at that, it is over 30 seconds. It's a big, big ask. And the only way it would be possible, and I mean the only way it would be possible, is if that group of chasers worked together, and they would have to work together. They would have to continually rotate off the front and do huge pulls to bring that group back. Otherwise, we're going to see those 4 riders at the front of that category 1 race fighting it out.
And that is about the chase. It's about this 15.8 kilometers run into the finish and how that plays out. Being in a group, being with the draft makes a big difference, doesn't it? It's just so important to be able to sit behind people, particularly when you've got such a long downhill. Let's take another look at that. So Emma, just run through for people here. We're coming over the summit of the Heritage Climb. We've gone from the left of our screens. We've followed our little rider across through the 3 sprints, up the red section, up over the top. It's that downhill in this run to the finish now where being in a group is key because of the speed. But the downhill, it isn't just downhill, is it? And that does make it a bit more difficult.
It's a really technical downhill. And I think one of the things you have to realise is how hard you actually have to work on the downhill. It's not necessarily a deep breath at the top. Oh, I've done it. And now I can recover on the downhill. There really is an opportunity to chase, and there really is an opportunity to catch. And this type of technical downhill where you've got multiple steps and you've got flats and you've got rises, it really does move. And, you need to be really motivated to make the catch, but you need to also understand that the downhill isn't necessarily a place for a rest.
And then from the downhill, we move to that flat transition section where a Hegra Sprint and the Green City Sprint are. That section then, that's just purely draft, isn't it? That really is just taking turns like a team time trial.
Yeah, for me, that section, once you get to the bottom, before you get to the rollers on the run into the finish, that is your opportunity to take a breath, lower your heart rate, and get ready for what is going to be a very difficult finish. I think we're going to see lone winners today, even if packs go into those rollers together.
Oh, not a sprint. Okay, that's going to be very interesting. Let's see if Emma's prediction is right when we get there. We've got a long way to go for some of our riders. I know some of our riders and some of our viewers will be on the climb still at the moment. Keep digging in. No climb lasts forever. I tell myself that every time the road goes uphill, no matter how long it is, it can't last forever. You're going to be in there now. 4 sets of riders on your screens. Category 1 leaders at 23 kilometers almost. You've got Category 2 leaders at 25 kilometers at nearly 26. You've got Angel Hadlock leading the Category 3. Category 4 at the moment, well, you can see Perry in there with Al Mansouri and co. At the moment, they are at nearly 28 kilometers covered, but this is a 35-kilometer race, and that rolling section at the end that Emma, you said you're going to see those splits occur, that starts at 31.4k. So even for our Category 4 leaders, there's still a way to go.
Oh, yes, at 27.8 kilometres into this race, the leaders in Category 4, who are indeed the leaders on the road at the moment, have still got some way to go before they get to that roller section. And I think we're going to see these 3 riders come into that section together. So Perry, Al Mansouri and Silvestro, the 3 riders clear. They're 23 seconds clear of Jones, who is riding on her own. Bremner with Hamilton, the 2 riders doing the chasing there. They will be fighting it out for 5th position and that final podium spot today. But these 3 riders at the front, Perry, Al Mansouri and Silvestro, they, I think, will go into those rollers together. Who comes out the strongest is going to be really interesting.
And we've got Georgina Jones chasing at 22 seconds. That's really is no man's land. 20 seconds in front, 20 seconds behind. Interesting to see that Angel Hadlock has continued to push on through here. At the front, she's got 8 seconds on Lucy Estelle. Then you can see it's going to be Piccolo and De Grazia. But the gaps have started to open up here. This is a different scenario altogether, isn't it? Because everybody pretty much here has to start making some decisions. Are you going to chase? Are you going to wait? Are you going to let a group come together? Is that group got Category 4 in it? Has it got Category 3 in it? Has it got Category 2 in it? Who's coming? A different dynamic.
It is a different dynamic. And one of the things I think is interesting about this course, and we haven't seen it happen yet today, is we haven't seen any of the later starting categories catch the front of an earlier starting category. And it's very, very interesting that the nature of the climb that we've seen and the timing of the climb has not had that happen. So, for example, here in with this leading group of Category 2 riders, they are indeed working their way through the back of the Category 4 and the back of the Category 3 fields, but they have not caught the front. So Cassani, Embring and Sanchez, the 3 riders in this leading group. They've got Svardström not very far back, but Philippa Hill, one of the Category 3 riders, is in the mix here. And for me, what Hill needs to do now on this flat section is tuck in and work hard to stay with this group and allow them to take her back to the Category 3 riders who are further down the road.
And in that group, we've also got Cynthia Naves of Category 4, and it's even harder for her to stay in with the group
because the power profiles are so different.
Because she's got such a difference in power output, in theory, to the higher categories, and that's why she's not in with Musa Al Mansouri here up at the very front. Interestingly, Al Mansouri with the polka dot skin suit, with the green skin suit, meaning the fastest climber, got the most points in the climbs, the fastest sprinter getting the most sprint points as well at this stage. Will she make that a triumvirate with that yellow jersey at the end here? Al-Mansouri has really been a rider that we've always seen in the mix here. Do you think she's just taken another step up here and is really, I mean, she's regularly now in that top 5?
I think she's a great climber. I think she's a very, very strong climber. What will happen with the rollers at the end, I think, is really interesting because for me, Al-Mansouri is the strongest when we've got a long, long climb. But we know she often goes hard early and she often can fade at the end if she's not got her timing right.
Yeah.
And for me, this is a very technical finish. So those 3 riders coming into that finish together in Category 4, I'm not sure it's going to play to her strengths.
And if you take that and mirror that across Category 1, where we're in at the moment, 4 riders, not 3, but still 4 riders, Bruni, Columbi, Kolczynski, along with Fua. Any of these riders fit that profile? Any of these riders the same? That good on the climb, but maybe not so good when it comes to that sprint?
No, all 4 of these riders can win this race. I tell you, there is so Bruni, Columbi, Fua, and Kolczynski. All 4 of these riders are capable of winning through that technical finish.
I think, let's be fair. I mean, if you are a Category 1 rider, you are the best of the best already. And then if you are even better than that, because you are at the front of the race, you are on form. Because you don't get to this position in the racing without absolutely being on it.
Kolczynski, Fua, Bruni, and Columbi are 4 strong, world-class e-cycling riders who are all on form at the moment and all capable of taking the win today. So that is going to be a really competitive race finish. And they've gone through that Hegra sprint, taking this fastest time at the moment, so 25.3 seconds. Bertoni, Category 2, coming through 1.5 seconds slower. Ella Vink taking the fastest time in Category 3 at the moment. Svardström and Embring are there, and Hill is there too, because she is taking a tow at the moment from that Category 2 group.
And that really illustrates that snapshot that we get on the way in and through as they come down. Now, one rider who's benefiting from the Category 1 here is Bertoni. So Bertoni at the moment for Category 2 is going to be moving up and through. And this is something that plays into you've got to be able to tactically ride and be aware of what's going to happen when groups get caught behind. So just watching what's happening in your own little world, on your own screen, is sometimes not enough. We often see a DS, we often see somebody in the background actually being able to look in for the riders and keep an eye on what's happening on the feed. Hopefully we're going to try and keep everybody up to date on the way through. Just watching Ursula Cassani at the moment in this group. We can see Ursula in the pain cave as well, sat in with this packet out, and Embring Company and Stefania Sanchez with Hill as well.
Well, Svardström's just off the back of the group there, Matt. Yeah. Coming round the corner, she's just lost the group. So 4 Category 2 riders. If Svardström can just make the junction, she has indeed. She's pushed on. So Cassani, Embring, Svardström. The screen is changing so fast, I can't actually see. So Cassani, Svardström, Sanchez and Embring, the 4 Category 2 riders in the mix. And it is Philippa Hill on the toe. That is one phenomenal group for Hill to stay on the back of. But we know Hill is strong. She's a good climber.
She's she's riding smart now, and that's one of the things I absolutely love about this. I know that there are some people who say, "Oh no, I don't like it when we get caught," and the other groups come through. But for me, that's part of racing, and that tactical awareness, knowing when to push, knowing when to jump in, which group, and how hard to stay in, because the temptation is to stay in too long in the group. You can see our Category 2 riders in here at the moment who are in with them, like Bertoni. They got to go, how long can I stay in here before my legs fall off? And then actually I lose even more time because I've gone too far into the red. I've gone too deep.
Well, that's it. You know, we are not saying that these Category 2 riders could stay with this Category 1 pack for the whole race. What they are doing is taking a tow and hanging on in there for as long as they can to get the best finish that they can. They're not going to stay there. If they could stay there their whole race, they would be Category 1 riders.
They would indeed. And don't forget, of course, all of our riders have to complete that power passport to give us the profile to make sure that they are going to go through that verification. Now we go in through the Green City Sprint. We're ticking off the kilometres very quickly because it's a fast, flat section. Svartstrom in there.
That was the catch.
That was the chase and catch. Yeah, that brought her back in. It means that she's in with Kulczynski. Jaramillo also hitching a lift on the way through. That means that the times are almost identical coming through there. But Tony, again, with Fua, with Columbi, with Jaramillo, that is why you're seeing these riders. They are in that pack. They are absolutely motoring. Fantastic to see. We're in with Alejandro
look
Jaramillo
at the
at
work
the
on
moment.
her face.
I know there's some serious focus there, just keeping the power down as she focuses in on the ride, looking really, really focused. I mean, that concentration is tiring in itself, isn't it? You know, if you're there focused and you're concentrating, if you were doing that without riding, that would be a tiring effort. Never mind doing it whilst you're on the bike.
Well, let's take a look. She's 54 minutes into her race. She'll have done a pre-race warm-up as well. So she's probably on the bike for about 75 minutes already. You know, and she's coming into the last 5 kilometers of this race. So no wonder she's tired. No wonder she's got a look of concentration, and she's gearing up for the best place finish she can get. Now, category 1, the leaders now coming into that final 5 kilometers. They're at 30.4 kilometers into the race. Category 1 leaders, it's Perry and Silvestro. They've gapped Al Mansouri slightly there in these rollers. Well, I didn't want to say I told you so, Matt. But Perry and Silvestro, the 2 riders now pushing through these rollers. They've got 2 kilometers left to go. And if Al Mansouri wants to do anything about this, she's going to have to push hard. In fact, she is indeed pushing hard. But can she make the catch back? Because the rollers are now splitting this category 4 leading group.
They are, and you can watch that power change. If you look on the right-hand side of your screen, watch the watts per kilo as the riders go up the climb, over the top, and down the other side. Perry leading at the moment. She has the gap. Will she be able to keep it there as they come in through Silvestro, the rider in second place? Then it's Al Mansouri in third, but Perry at the moment leading them through in category 4. They are currently at 33.5k. They are 1,200 meters ahead of Hadlock in category 3, the rider on your left of your screen. But it is not that far to go, and getting the timing right here is key because of the rise and fall here as you come through. Now, we are going to see 2 banners. Remember, we have the polka dot banner, which is at 500 meters to go, 34.5k. Then it is going to be the finish banner for the end of the race here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. You have to make sure you know which is which and get it right. It sounds simple. We get riders getting it wrong every week.
Well, category 1 leading group of 4 riders have just gone under the start banner, the start polka dot banner, signifying the Alpha Car Hills, those rollers starting for them. They are on the up. And for me, this is where the category 2 pack are not going to be able to stay with them, because those 4 category 1 leaders are going to move away clearly. So Columbi, Fua, Kulczynski and Bruni have gone into this final set of rollers as a group. Who is going to take top spot in category 1?
Going to be really interesting now. We just see Lam Kong jump onto the back of this group as well here, staying with them just over the top. That's put a bit of damage into the category 2 riders who came up with the riders there. Now, Celine Columbi, the rider on your screens here at the moment. You can see she's right in the mix here. She knows she's in for a top 4 spot.
She's got a grimace at the moment. She's pushing on because Fua and Kulczynski are trying to go clear. Columbi's having none of it at the moment. Bruni as well. She's on Columbi's wheel. The 4 of them are fighting this out, and they have got 2.8 kilometers to the finish.
And for me now, one of the key things here is you saw how much effort Columbia has put in that chase. Somebody needs to have something left for the finish because you need to have a kick. Perry has gone hard early in category 4 on the right-hand side of your screen. It means she goes underneath that polka dot banner first. It means she's collected the polka dot skin suit so far. Behind Silvestro in 2, Al Mansouri in 3. There are less than 500 meters to go here. We have a dip, then we have a rise. You've got to get this right. Perry at the moment, though, has got the gap. Will she fade? The banner is in sight. You can see it's on its way. Here we go.
Well, with 300 meters to go, Georgia Perry currently leading this category 4 race. She's got Silvestro and Al Mansouri doing the chasing, but It's the UCI banner. It's the finish of the Sunday Race Club. Georgia Perry came into the final set of rollers in a group of 3. She's pushed on. She's going to take the win today in Category 4. Georgia Perry is your Category 4 winner on Qualifier 3 of the Sunday Race Club. Well, so Perry takes top spot. She's the first rider over the line and she wins Category 4. Silvestro coming through in 2. Al-Mansouri is going to come through in 3rd place. Fabulous riding from those 3 riders who broke away in Category 4. It's Jones who's going to finish in 4th place, but Hadlock Matt is fighting for the win in Category 3.
So Angel Hadlock now comes up to that polka dot banner, making her way in to that finish. She's got a gap behind her. She can see that we've got Category 2. We've got Category 4 riders, but there's no blue jerseys in there. And it means that she's got that gap. They're just coming into sight on the left-hand side of our screen. There is at least one rider in Category 3 in that big chasing pack that are at 25 seconds back with 500 meters to go. Hadlock cannot relax here as she goes through. Embring is leading this pack of Category 2 riders, and they have got a Category 3 rider in it. Embring is going at 6 watts per kilo through there to try and break that group. Can they pull back Hadlock?
Well, Hadlock's the leader in Category 3. She can see the banner at the moment, but it's the chase group behind being led by Anna Embring. She's trying to win the Category 2 race. She's got 6 seconds on the group behind. She too can see the finish banner, but I think it's going to be Hadlock. I think Hadlock is going to go underneath that banner first and take the win in Category 3. She is indeed. So Angel Hadlock taking the win today in Category 3 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. So Hadlock taking the win in Category 3. This is Embring looking to take the win in Category 2. She's ridden clear of the chasing group of Svardström and Sanchez and Kasani. Anna Embring taking the top spot in Category 2.
Great racing in our Category 2 race. Sanchez coming in with Svarstrom, and it's going to be a really tight on the line there as they go through. Embring taking the win from Svarstrom, who takes that 2nd place. That's in Category 2, but the Category 1 riders are on the way in. Have 4 become 3? Have they become 2? Have they become 1, Emma?
Well, 3 riders now leading. It was 4, but Columbi, Kolchinsky and Fua. Mulbruni is the rider who's been distanced as they run into the finish line and the attack comes down. Kolchinsky is pushing, but Columbi's coming from behind, and Fua, she's taking a slingshot over the top at the moment, but Columbi is pushing. She's at 8 watts per kilo, 9 watts per kilo. Fua's coming at 10. This is going to go right down to the line between Columbi and Fua. Fua takes it. Fua comes over the top and takes the win in Category 1 from Celine Columbi. Kirsten Kolchinsky in 3.
What a run for the line. What a sprint finish. You could see the acceleration as they came in over the top, and that paid off. Mulbruni going to come through for 4th place in Category 1 here as they come in and over the line. I think they are going to be feeling that one for a long, long time. So Embring, Sanchez, your top 3 in Category 2. You can see it's Fua, Columbi, Kolchinsky, Bruni in Category 1 who have come in and over the line. And the gaps there, nothing separating Fua and Columbi. Emma, you called that in over the line. Did you think it was that close?
Yes.
I love the one word
56 minutes, 14 seconds. That is some racing. And it's because of those 4 top riders, Fua, Columbi, Kolchinsky and Bruni, that time is so quick, because that was one competitive race. Credit to Embring taking the win from Svardström and Sanchez. Category 3, Hadlock taking it from Estelle. Category 4, Perry took that win from Silvestro. There was some phenomenal racing today, Matt.
World-class riders on a world-class platform, bringing you some of the best world-class racing out there. And it sets us up fantastically for next week's finals. Make sure you tune in. I'll be here. My name's Matt Payne with Emma Martin. You can catch up with me. It's at Matt Fixer Payne. You can catch up with Emma at biking_Emma. We're really looking forward to the racing coming up. Emma, that was a cracker. for the finals. If you could pick the final course, where would it be?
Oh my goodness!
I love it when I spring these on Emma. She has no idea I was going to ask her this question.
I don't know where I want the
Come
finals
on, quick,
to be.
quick! We've got to end the show.
Paso Alto.
Oh, okay, Paso Alto from Emma. I'm going to keep my predictions of where I would like to be. Stum. I personally would like to go to Belgium. Oh, I let it out of the bag. Good job. We're near the end of the show. Thank you very much for listening this far. Let's see if we're right next week. Thank you very much to the team behind the scenes for making it happen, and our riders, of course, for keeping us entertained. Make sure you follow MyWhoosh on social media. It's at MyWhoosh on Instagram and on Facebook. But from me, Mark Payne, it's time for us to say, stay safe. We'll see you again.
Goodbye.